Welcome back to Have More Babies. Today, we're diving into something really, really important for anyone in those first few months of parenthood, figuring out co-parenting.
Yeah, it's a time that's amazing, of course, but also, well, intense doesn't quite cover it
It
sometimes.
really doesn't. And having that solid co-parenting approach, it can honestly be the difference between feeling like you're drowning and feeling like, okay, we're a team, we can do this.
Absolutely. That teamwork is everything.
So for this discussion, we've actually been looking at some great resources from Omega Pediatrics. They're based in Roswell and Alpharetta. And their core idea really resonates. Co-parenting, they say, is fundamentally about two people raising a child together.
Yeah.
Shared goal, safe, nurturing environment. Doesn't matter if you live under the same roof or not.
Exactly. It's that shared mission. And, that mission becomes incredibly vital in those initial months. Sleep deprivation is real. Stress is real.
Oh, yeah. When you're both just exhausted, that shared understanding, that common approach, it's basically your lifeline, isn't it?
It truly is.
So here on Have More Babies, we want to pull out some of those key insights from Omega Pediatrics, give you some really practical, actionable advice for making co-parenting work during this, let's face it, pretty unique and challenging period.
It's like laying the groundwork, right? Building that strong foundation together from day one.
Yeah, brick by brick. And that first brick, it's probably just getting clear on what co-parenting actually means in practice.
Right. Because it's more than just, you take this feeding, I'll take the next one. It's about a shared philosophy almost, a
Right.
mindset focused on the kid.
It's that whole it takes two to tango thing, but the baby's calling the tune.
Huh. Yeah, pretty much. And that means strong communication and real teamwork aren't optional extras. They're necessities. You need them to handle all the curveballs.
Definitely. And Omega Pediatrics points out something subtle but important within that teamwork, respecting each other's parenting styles.
Oh, that's a big one. Because even with the same end goal, you might approach things differently, like how you soothe the baby or your exact feeding routine.
Right. Which leads straight into needing that mutual support, actually showing some empathy when your partner looks like they're about to collapse.
Or proactively saying, hey, let me take the next diaper change, not just waiting to be asked.
Exactly. And just being patient, you're both learning, you're both adjusting. Those small acts of kindness, of support, they add up massively. It shows you're in it together.
Yeah, you're in the trenches together. And something Omega Pediatrics really highlights is understanding each other's specific needs during this huge adjustment.
Because it hits everyone differently, right?
Totally. The sleep deprivation might crush one person more, or maybe financial worries are bigger for the other, or just feeling totally overwhelmed by the 2047 nature of it.
So true. And that's why being really open, really honest about how you're actually doing what you actually need, it's a game changer. It's not about keeping score.
No, it's about knowing, okay, where are you at right now? What can I realistically do? And translating that understanding into real support.
So not just, you okay? But more like,
More like, look, I'm going to handle bath time tonight. You go take a long shower. Or just offering that emotional validation. Yeah, this is hard, but we're doing okay. Even tackling the dishes can feel like a lifesaver.
oh, absolutely. And Omega Pediatrics makes another crucial point. Self-care isn't selfish here. It's essential for both parents.
Which feels impossible sometimes, doesn't it? Like, where's the time?
I know. But even just 5 minutes, a quick walk outside, a few deep breaths, a hot cup of tea you actually get to finish while it's hot, it helps you recharge.
It's that oxygen mask analogy, isn't it? Put yours on first so you can actually help someone else, or in this case, be a better co-parent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because fundamentally, good co-parenting runs on good communication.
Which sounds simple, but when you're exhausted and stressed, wow, communication can get tricky fast.
Yeah.
Misunderstandings happen so easily.
They really do. And that's where some of Omega Pediatric specific communication tips are gold. I loved the idea about using humor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Finding ways to laugh together even when things feel chaotic. That can just cut through the tension like nothing else. Little shared joke in the middle of the night madness.
That's brilliant. And they also suggested creating a kind of code word.
Yes. Like a signal, something quick you can say or do that means I need a break or I just need a laugh right now without having to explain everything. Super useful at 3 a.m.
Totally. And also setting up clear ways to communicate. Like maybe texts are fine for quick updates, need diapers, but bigger talks need to happen face-to-face or at least on the phone.
And respecting boundaries. If one person is handling the baby, maybe don't bombard them with non-urgent questions right then.
Good point. And the listening part. That's huge. Not just waiting for your turn to talk, but really hearing what your partner is saying. No interruptions. Trying to get their perspective.
Even if you don't agree with it, just understanding it.
Exactly. And, sometimes communication is just hard, period. Omega Pediatrics wisely suggests not being afraid to get outside help.
Right, like talking to a therapist or maybe even taking a couples communication workshop. There's zero shame in that. It's about strengthening the team.
Absolutely. Another thing that can happen, especially early on, is that the baby becomes the entire focus, which is natural, but
But the connection between the parents can kind of wither a bit if you're not careful. Your own relationship takes a back seat.
yeah. And Omega Pediatrics reminds us
Mhm.
to actively find ways to nurture that connection too.
Yeah.
Even small things,
Like,
like just 5 minutes of focused conversation each day. No phones, just checking in. Or sharing a coffee quietly before the day explodes. It maintains that bond.
and the teamwork thing, again, sharing all the load. Not just the fun baby stuff, but the chores, the mental load that builds respect and connection too.
It really does. They also suggested maybe attending parenting classes or seminars together.
Oh, that's a good one. Learn together, but also connect with other people going through the same thing. Build a bit of a community.
Yeah, that shared experience can be really validating. Now, when challenges do pop up, because they will,
Yep. They absolutely will.
it helps to know there are tools out there. Omega Pediatrics mentions things like co-parenting apps or websites.
Right. For shared calendars, tracking schedules, maybe even expenses, that can cut down on so many, wait, did you moments?
Definitely streamlines things, especially when you're both sleep-deprived and juggling schedules.
And support groups. Don't underestimate those.
No way. Talking to other people who get the specific challenges of co-parenting, that can be incredibly helpful. Sharing tips, just venting sometimes.
For sure. And look, sometimes disagreements are just really tough to solve on your own. And Omega Pediatrics acknowledges that. Sometimes mediation or even getting lawyers involved might be needed.
Yeah, having a neutral third party can sometimes break a deadlock and help find common ground, especially when emotions are high.
The main thing, though, as they emphasize, is that co-parenting isn't something you figure out once and you're done. It's a process.
It's ongoing. You learn, you adapt, you figure out what works for your family, and always keeping the child's well-being front and center. That's the compass.
Always the priority. Now, sometimes, sadly, those early months might also involve parents separating. That adds a whole other layer of complexity.
It really does. And the advice from Omega Pediatrics there is so important, especially about never bad-mouthing the other parent in front of the child.
Oh, that's poison. It creates such a toxic atmosphere for the kid.
Absolutely. The focus has to stay on providing stability, love, predictability for the child, whatever the living situation. Keep their world secure.
And even when things are tense between the co-parents, that active listening, that empathy we talked about, still crucial. Try to understand where the other person is coming from, communicate respectfully, avoid blame.
Easier said than done sometimes,
Yeah.
but so important. And for anyone going through that separation piece, getting solid emotional support is non-negotiable.
Yeah. Lean on friends, family, find those single parent support groups, maybe talk to a therapist. You need your own support system.
You really do. And self-care, stress management, even more critical when you're dealing with conflict on top new parenthood. You need to be resourced to handle it.
Take that time, even tiny bits of it, to recharge. It makes a difference.
Ultimately, parenting is just. It's demanding,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically. And that emotional support, it's vital for everyone.
And it's not just hearing, you're doing great. It's practical stuff too, right? Like someone bringing over a meal or watching the baby so you can nap.
Exactly. It's having someone to listen without judgment, offer comfort, maybe inspire you when you feel like you've got nothing left.
That support network, friends, family groups, it's a lifeline. And Omega Pediatrics makes a great point. Seeking help when you need it. That sets a fantastic example for your kids. Shows them it's okay, it's strong to ask for support.
So if we boil it all down, successful co-parenting, especially in those chaotic first months, really comes down to what? Effective communication,
Teamwork.
mutual support.
Yep. It takes conscious effort, no doubt about it.
Boy.
But the payoff for your child's long-term well-being, it's huge.
Absolutely immeasurable.
So approach it with thoughtfulness, with sensitivity,
Yeah.
and just be kind to your co-parent. And definitely be kind to yourself too. Remember, there are tools out there, skills you can learn, support systems you can tap into.
Legal help if needed, online resources, just talking openly.
And please prioritize your own well-being. Get
Yeah.
that emotional support you need. You can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
Now, look, if you want much more detailed information, fantastic resources, expert guidance on all things pediatric care, including navigating this whole parenthood journey, you really should visit omegapediatrics.com.
Yeah, definitely check them out.
That's omegapediatrics.com. Seriously, a wealth of information there.
It really is invaluable, whether you're a new parent or you've been doing this a while.
And hey, if you found this chat on Have More Babies helpful today, we'd love it if you'd give us a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future discussions,
Please do.
and maybe share this video. Share it with anyone you know who's expecting or have a little one, anyone who might find this useful.
Yeah, spread the word. Co-parenting support is so needed.
Okay, final thought to leave you with. Think about how intentionally building your co-parenting relationship now, right from the start, how that's going to shape your child's whole understanding of teamwork, of family, of healthy relationships for their entire life.
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful way to think about it. Really puts the daily effort into perspective.
Definitely something to reflect on. Thank you so much for joining us today on Have More Babies.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.